Hey there, Spartans. Welcome back to the West Report. We ran out of the pretty faces, so you're stuck with me. The GW DECA has had a great year, as 4 students qualified to go to the state conference. Senior Giovanni Della Rosa is in Principles of Marketing. Senior Dominica Gaetan Selgren and freshman Gavin Yob will compete in Principles of Business Management, and junior Theo Hirsch goes in Principles of Finance. The Knowledge Bowl team qualified for regional competition in January. What does Knowledge Bowl do? Think of it as Team Jeopardy! See Mr. Allen or Mr. Miller if you want in. 196 students were celebrated Monday morning for their 3.5 GPA and above at this year's honors breakfast. They enjoyed pastries and a casserole prepared by our catering class. Esports went to playoffs last Monday, where the Rocket League teams placed 25th and 19th out of 98 in the state. Smash Brothers finished 48th out of 120 statewide. Winter sports kicked off last week and introduced a new sport this year. I'll hand it off to Alejandro to tell you about girls wrestling.
Thank you, Monty. As you can tell by the mural behind me, we're here in the wrestling room. We're going to go ahead and shine some light on girls wrestling this season. For the first time ever, Greeley West is excited to host a girls wrestling team for all the girls in District 6. We have assistant coach Marcanic explaining the recruiting process for the wrestling team.
So our biggest thing right now is it's by mouth, by word, trying to build this program. Yes, it is our first year here at West, and trying to continue to build that. We've had open mat for the past couple of weeks, and we've had at least 8, 9 girls, 10 girls show up so far. So being able to continue word of mouth and passing that around to get more girls to come out.
Wrestling, like all sports, has challenges to face. Marcanic explains how wrestling stands out from the rest.
I think it's a different sport compared to any other sport. The biggest thing is mental toughness, striving to find different things about yourself. You're learning so much about yourself throughout this sport, whether it's the mental capacity, being physically hydrated, making sure you're eating the nutrition that you need to get through practices in our meets and duels and stuff. So making sure that we're staying on top of that.
We also got a look at her hopes for the season. Here's the last word from Marcanic.
My hopes for the team this year, I think it's any coach can say, qualifying for state and making it to state and representing of being a Spartan and winning big.
We were fortunate enough to be able to get a look at a typical practice to introduce us to some of the girl wrestlers. All right, so what is your name and grade?
My name is Lena Cruz, and I'm a senior.
Well, do you like the wrestling experience in general?
Yeah, I do. I think it's really pushed me, and it's really helped me, with my character development. It's just made me, work harder, push myself harder.
How do you feel like wrestling, impacted you in life, or like you said, jiu-jitsu?
It has definitely helped me in my mental health and be more confident with myself and go out there and do what I want to do.
Thanks, Alejandro. We hope they have a great season. Now we'll hand it to this week's hall monitor, Kinsey, for some thoughts on Thanksgiving.
Who's your craziest relative at Thanksgiving?
My craziest relative is probably my uncle. He tried to do a backflip off the table in the dining room. He ate it really bad.
Other than that, what would you say the most interesting thing to happen at Thanksgiving was?
So it was storming really bad, and there was the trampoline. It was in the backyard, and the wind was blowing so bad, the trampoline, it flew through the living room, and it smashed all the windows open.
What's the craziest or most interesting thing to happen at Thanksgiving?
The craziest thing that's happened at Thanksgiving was I went up behind my cousin and I pounced him in front of the whole family. And everybody just went quiet, and it was awkward after that. Very weird. I stopped talking to him for a couple years. This is 2 years ago. Yeah.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened on Thanksgiving?
Oh, the craziest thing that ever happened to me, my little chihuahua, he's about 20 years old. One time he stole the turkey, and then he literally ran out the doggy door, and then got hit by a car. this fun.
What's the craziest thing or most interesting thing that's ever happened at Thanksgiving?
When we had to kill the turkey ourselves, we went to shoot the turkey and we actually shot my uncle instead of the turkey.
Wow, that was great. Thanks, Kinsey, for showing us what the students think of Thanksgiving. Speaking of giving thanks, we had Ruthi on the scene Veterans Day. Let's look at how things went.
As Greeley West celebrated this year's Veterans Day, staff and students were treated to a flag-raising ceremony featuring 2 cadets presenting the Colorado flag as well as the American flag to be raised on West's own flagpole. Junior Bradley Smiley expresses what Veterans Day means to him and how it's affected his family.
To me, this holiday means, being thankful and honoring those who have served for this country, put their life at risk or downright on the line, to show our respects to those who have given their all in any way, shape, or form for this country. Well, I have countless family members who have served in the armed forces in several different branches, so to me, it honestly hits close to home to, be able to give them the respect they deserve.
Smiley isn't the only one who admires Veterans Day either. One of the cadets, Michael Reynolds, explains the significance of this holiday.
Veterans Day means a lot to me. So I come from a family of 5 generations of prior service members, going all the way back to my great-grandpa in World War II. And he left behind, I'd never met him, but he left behind me, my family, a note. And he wrote it in World War II in France, and it was a note home. And it was about all the things he looks forward to seeing when he gets home. So every time I see Veterans Day or I see another veteran, I think about that letter that my great-grandpa wrote.
The students of Greeley West weren't the only group celebrating, as Army veteran Stanley Graffis reminisced and shared about what the importance of this holiday means to him.
It's a remembrance of everything that we've done. I was in the Vietnam War, and when we got back, it wasn't the best return. Mm-hmm. And so this is, the celebration of the things that we should have got.
Thanks to all the veterans that came out. Now back to you, Monty.
Thanks, Ruthi, and everyone who put the work in to show thanks to our veterans. See you next week, and be sure to follow us on social media and read up on other Spartan news at our very own gwwestward.com.